I'm just someone that really believes in the free exchange of ideas, even at a really young age. And I feel like one of the best things about my education was that it encouraged that. And if you could convince me that there's a way to do that while keeping men and women separately, I mean, I'm open to it. I'm not going to say it's not possible. I'm not an expert in education. But, yeah, I mean, I speak anecdotally, and that's something I really value. So for me, that's always been an issue.
So when you say free exchange of ideas, what do you mean? Does that mean that the teachers should be as open to the students' ideas as this?
Do you think women should be on the Supreme Court of the United States?
Sure.
Do you think that their opinions and values, their opinions and that they've written on the law are better for fuller because women have been on the Supreme Court?
I don't think like there's an advantage that because she's a Latina woman, like who was the last one? She said, I think I can bring insight because I'm a Latina woman. I don't think there's any special DNA in being Latina or a woman that would transform one into a better lawyer. So I would only want women on the Supreme Court purely on merit. I wouldn't want it on affirmative action. And I think I don't think any of the Supreme Court justices or women got there purely on merit. I mean, none of them would have been appointed on merit. They weren't among the elite.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I think for sure was. O'Connor, she was the height of her career.
She was the first. Do you think that she got it on merit? Like if she'd been a guy with a similar level of accomplishment?
Oh yeah, she was incredibly accomplished. I mean, one of the opinions recently that sticks out to me is when there was a girl, a 13-year-old girl at school had been accused of bringing Advil to school, and another girl blamed it on her, and she was brought in, and the administration conducted a strip search of her, and it was brought to the Supreme Court, and the opinion came down, I think, last year, and Justice Ginsburg wrote it, and previously, like the lower courts, I'm not sure if it had been decided by all men, but it seemed like in the history of the case, when men were deciding how impactful a strip search of a 13-year-old girl by a principal was, they didn't include the full thinking that Justice Ginsburg was able to give, having been a 13-year-old girl. So that was, I think, an example of having a woman on the court as a woman really mattering, and if it were all men, that opinion would never be expressed. Even just one woman is able to express that. I think that was really important, and I think that it would. I think they did all get there on merit, and if they hadn't got there, that decision might have been decided another way, and it would be unfortunate.
So, do you think there's special? What about like having a Latina woman or a Jewish woman or I don't know, a black woman? There isn't a black woman. Do you think there'd be some special benefit to having someone on the basis of their race on the Supreme Court?
I think there is a benefit. I don't think it's enough of a benefit to not decide based on merit. It's not important enough that we should give it to someone because of that, but I think there's an undeniable benefit, yeah.
How often do you find that your opinions and thoughts are not taken seriously because you're attractive?
Often. Is your opinion of me changing? It depends how I meet people, and if I meet people in a bar, they get a handful, and they don't always accept it.
Yeah, they're less interested in the cognitive ability than some of your other attributes.
I think so, especially because I can dress pretty scandalously.
Yeah.
And, a tight dress, short skirt, 5-inch high heels, and I'm out at a bar. Not every guy is expecting to hear someone's Supreme Court analysis of, who just goes to law school as a hobby. Yeah.
Do you expect men to relate to you the same way if you dress scandalously or if you dress conservatively? Do you expect them to be equally interested in your mind?
Well, you asked two different questions. Okay. The first one, I I expect the same respect, regardless of how
How
I'm
you
dressed.
dress, even if you dress like a hooker, you still expect to be treated like it's free.
Yeah. I mean, if you are hooting and hollering on the street, I don't think there's any dress that says that that's appropriate.
If guys are hooting and hollering at you as you walk down the street, if you got a really short skirt, you've got rip tights. But if a guy goes, "Whoo, nice legs, baby," that's inappropriate.
Why do men do that? What do they want? I mean, fine, good for them. I've never understood. I don't think it's respectful. I guess I'm not going to pick a bone with that. If you were dressed a certain way, I would dress that way to feel sexy or sexual, and I would never ask a man to ignore that. I wouldn't dress like that to go to temple for a certain reason. I wouldn't dress like that around my parents for a certain reason. But I'm entitled to dress that way when I go out, and I don't expect it to be ignored, but I think that there's a way to be respectful, and if you want to be attracted to the person and to be attracted to the person, I think men just assume that you're one or the other, and they make that judgment really quickly. I tend to be really attracted to men who are smart. It's one of the first things that can attract me to someone, and maybe because I think they're more likely to respect me on an intellectual, academic level.
How important, like, are visual cues, do you think, for male attraction?
Incredibly important.
Okay, so if they're incredibly important, if men are going to relate to you either as a sexual being or as a cognitive being, then what implications does that have for how you dress?
If I am dressed sexually and out at a bar, I don't expect someone to come up to me and start a conversation on Nietzsche. But I mean, it just depends. The devil is in the details here. It depends. You can be attracted to someone and relate to them on a purely sexual level and be respectful. That's what I would expect. Yeah. You can. You think, disagree?
I'm just teasing.
I think that someone can...
You can be sexual and respectful.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean...
Maybe in the secular world.
Well, clearly, it's not even an option in your world. But I think it's... I actually feel like sometimes I get pigeonholed the other way, too. If I know someone...
Pigeonholed is too smart?
Yeah, if I know someone, like, from school, law school, or the writing world,
yeah.
I think they can be surprised negatively in what I might look like.
In a little skirt with rip tights?
Yeah, they might feel like, they might not...
Do they think they judge you for dressing like that?
I felt that way at my school, at my Christian law school. I felt very judged.
When you wear rip tights and short skirts
yeah.
to law school,
but I have the right to wear that, and I would never complain about someone looking at that. That's you have to be willing to take that.
You don't say, "Hey, my eyes are up here, buddy."
I wouldn't, but if I'm sitting in class and I'm talking, and you discount my opinion because my skirt is short, I have an issue with that.
And tights are ripped.
Yeah, you can look, and you can also listen to what I'm saying.
Have you noticed it having an effect on your professors?
I've never slept with my professor. Why do you keep asking me?
I was just curious if they're related to you differently if you're dressing provocatively.
Probably. Yeah. I think there's nothing more powerful than feeling sexual as a woman and feeling respected intellectually.
Simultaneously.
Yeah. It's like you're, speaking of being on top of the world, that's when you feel like on top of the world. Is this different from what most people say?
No, I think this is